Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or bring. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king.
Ready to stop guessing and start growing as a trader. Welcome to Vici Trading Solutions, a community built by real traders for serious learners. We don't just post trades, we teach the why behind every move. With a full education section and daily breakdowns, you'll start seeing the market like a pro. You won't be trading alone. Inside the Vici Discord, you're surrounded by committed traders, from futures pros to rising crypto specialists, all learning and winning together. Gain first access to our exclusive indicators, powerful tools used daily by hundreds across TradingView and beyond. These aren't gimmicks, they're built to sharpen your edge. Each morning, our founder posts a full trading plan for the S&P 500 or NASDAQ and calls out the levels he's watching live. No fluff, just clarity. Education, tools, community. Whether you trade futures, stock, or crypto, Vici gives you the foundation and firepower to grow. Join Vici, trade smarter, conquer the markets.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is Tuesday, and happy Tuesday. Welcome back. We had an amazing day. It was actually pretty awesome. I apologize about being late today. I was literally making content for 40 minutes. I couldn't believe how long it took me. We had so much stuff coming out of the trade plan today that it just took me longer than normal. I didn't expect that. So my apologies. As you guys know, too, I'm a little out of my element here. I'm at my parents' house taking care of Pops. You can probably see him in the back there. So, you know, that's I'm parent sitting right now. So, oh, good. Everybody gets their turn. And it just so happens it's mine. So doing my duty as we age and doing our thing. So now we're going to talk about the trade plan because it was so stinking good today. It was amazing. But first, before we do that, as usual, guys, follow me across all these socials. I post insanely heavily on Substack, and I also throw a few tweets out there on X, but I know my Substack is where the peeps are at, and so I appreciate all the love from you guys. It has been fantastic, all the love you've shown me, and so thank you so much for that. It is Ryan Bailey Edge across YouTube, X, Substack, and TradingView. Now, guys, we got some really cool indicators on TradingView. If you are a paid subscriber, shoot me a DM. I will get you enrolled in some of these, in all of the invite-only indicators. We've got some really cool stuff, the 80% rule, which is awesome. Also, I had a member in the room who made a really great indicator that you guys can basically punch in all the levels on TradingView. He said it takes like 2 minutes and it populates them all on the chart. It's really nice. I'm going to try to get that up for everybody tonight. So if you're a paid subscriber, you're certainly going to want that. Just hit me up. It's totally worth it. It's a really nice tool, especially if you're using TradingView. So anyways, let's get right into it. Before we do here, let me have a little drink. A little parched today. Okay. So much winning. I'm tired. Just so parched. All right, so let's go right into the market context as usual. You guys know how we do it. We like to start from the top down. I want to show you guys exactly how to work these trade plans. And so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start it right from the top. So again, we are really back in this 3-week balance, or should I say never left, right? And so the title talks about the 3-week balance, breaking down the 68.57.25 pivot and the 69.03 momentum shift. As you can see, this chart over here is our weekly chart. We had 1 huge candle, 2 huge candle, 3 huge candles, and here we are inside of this massive 3-week balance. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands something, and we're going to talk about the daily candles as well a little bit later. But when we are inside these massive ranges like this, I mean, price just drifts back and forth, and it becomes extremely hard to pick a direction, okay? Because our edge is truly in the edges, and when we're in the balance like that, it makes it very hard. So that's why we have these significant above-below levels that we monitor for momentum, and that's why when we basically sweep a level or we move outside the previous day's range, it really provides a very nice trade for us because we get out of all this bullshit. And right now, that's exactly what we're in. We're in a bunch of bullshit. So we're going to talk about it as we get right into it. So as usual, I have the notes on today's market. This was pretty cool. I liked this. So at the time of writing, relative volume was up 3.5%. And I said we could expect a true range expectancy to be met. Well, we had basically right here, this is after it was all done. And you could see that we had met it perfectly. We basically hit today's range perfect, which was awesome. And so also, another big note, which I try to let everybody know, is that when we are in negative gamma territory, guys, that is when dealers hedge to the downside. Volatility is persistent, which means they are hedging to the downside, but that doesn't mean we can't go both ways, okay? Right here, dealers are hedging to the downside, meaning we will have more volatility today, and I can expect move both ways with a potential lean to the downside. Well, we went up today, but I'm going to show you how this lean to the downside came into play, because even though that we rallied today, we had a lot of rotations off of our significant levels, and we were able to work our important pivots in making this happen. So the current market context says price is what I would call distributing in a sideways fashion. And at some point, we will break out of this range. But in which direction is hard to say right now. Okay, I keep it real. Listen, I'm not a magician. I don't know what's going to happen every day. What I know is my process, and I know exactly what the chart tells me. It tells me, hey, we're leaning to the downside right now. We haven't gained any support, but until they actually move out of this range, anything can happen, right? So we sit below our 69.03 weekly and below our 68.83 weekly, and even now below our massive monthly pivot at 68.57. So unless we get a nice sweep play, I do not expect too much support down here to actually play to the upside. Well, as you guys know, we got a sick-ass sweep play right at the open, which we're going to go over, and which pretty much was the catalyst for the upside fuel. And that was also in the plan, which ended up being freaking amazing. So let's go ahead right over here to the second part. This is the final thoughts that I put in for everybody at the end. And as you can see, I recap at the end of this so that you guys don't get lost. There's a lot of information in here. So as I tell everybody, we're sitting in a massive 3-week balance. Price can go either way as we revisit this area multiple times over the past 2 weeks. The momentum shift levels are the monthly at 68.57. Below that, we have massive downside. I have talked about this level till I've been blue in the face. I kept saying, if they stay below this, we have massive downside move. We have 3 major pivots that we're watching. 68.57. 68.83 weekly. That's going to be our barometer for the middle, and the 69.03, which is our true above below level, which is the big weekly. As long as we stay below 69.03, momentum shifts to the downside. And I am a firm believer in that still to this moment. Okay. And we're going to go over exactly why. Now, unless we get a nice sweep play, I do not expect too much support to play to the upside. Well, like we know, we got a great sweep. And I let everybody know we have negative regime and to be expecting massive ranges, right? Stick to the plan. The trade will present itself. We are in a very tricky area, and we certainly were, to say the least. And once again, I point out, look to take your targets above or below significant levels. Stay patient, and together we'll conquer the markets. So let's get right into the very first trade this morning. What's up, JL? It's good to see you, bud. So the very first trade, right out of the gate, as soon as I sent you guys the trade plan, 68.65 4-hour played right here. We had 68.65 4-hour, 61 was an untested 4-hour. We had yesterday's point of control, And so if any of these levels play, we want to see continuation back below the monthly at 57, which is this red line here. Now, when I took the picture this morning, we had just started to move off of this. We were down 10 or 13 points. This thing ended up paying 30 points and ultimately swept the previous yesterday's low, which led to our next trade. What's up, Bryce, Raj? Good to see you guys. Glad you're here. All right, so this was a banger right out of the gate. The bell didn't even ring. As soon as I got the trade plans out, everybody, this thing was already paying up, which was super sweet. Now, the next one, Bryce knows all about the next one because we were all in this. It was just ridiculously fast. Right here, we had key supports. This is the very first buy spot I had right here, as you can see, because it has the big bullet point, right? The overnight sweep setup, 68.34, 68.35. You're going to love this part, though, because it was so spot on, right? So we would want to see for a sweep below this level, into 68.30 or 68.25, reclaim yesterday's low and get back above the daily at 68.35 for continuation lower. We give targets of 48, 51, and 57. 57 is the monthly. We talked about it, had to take profits there. That was also pretty close to the gap fill. The other big thing was we had this massive put wall. As you can see, 68.34, massive put wall right here. Now, when they sweep these massive put walls and they reclaim, this is your key to get on this. Besides the fact that it was a massive sweep, when there's a big options level like this, a put wall basically means that dealers have sold a ton of puts there, right? If they sell puts, that means they're long, okay? When you buy puts, you're short. If you sell puts, you're long. So they swept this and got back above this. They defended this area like a champ. And as you guys know, this thing rallied 50, 60 points out of the hole, which was unbelievable. But not only that, here was the best part. We actually had Edgeful gave us an awesome stat that actually made me hold my trade a little bit longer, and I appreciate Edgeful for that. Thank you so much. We had an 89% chance that the gap was going to get filled to 68.54. Well, like I said, my targets were 48 and 51. I decided not to take one anymore at the earlier targets. I waited for the gap fill, and then I took 57. We got super duper paid on this, and it was like 15 minutes. My boy Sco, and then Bryce, who's in here right now, Mr. Unmonitored himself. He's 15 minutes. We all made a grand. 15 minutes. I mean, it was like clockwork. Unbelievable. What was funny is like, okay, like we just made a week's wage in 15 minutes. So now what do we do? And it's like, I basically quit for the day. To be honest, I had a bunch of other shit to do. I stayed with the room till noon, just calling out trades. But it was just absolutely insane. And I couldn't have been happier about that. I love days like that. What's up, Michael? Good to see you, buddy. This is, I know Michael was all over this trade too. He sent me a DM, said he was trying to get on this on his phone because this was just too sexy. This was a great trade. So in lieu with that as well, you guys know I watch SPX like a hawk. And this was, and I put the SPX out in the chart as well and circled the important levels for us to be above or below. The 68.19 was a massive pivot for us. As you can see, they swept underneath this as well and really just took off on everybody. So as you guys know, I said in the beginning, like I'm a little bearish to begin with, right? Because we hadn't really gained on any time frame. But this is Edgeful stats that I was really pointing out for everybody. And anytime these guys give us a stat that's over 80%, I am paying attention because, that's ridiculous. 8 out of 10 times it's right. So, we knocked off the gap fill. Okay, that's great. We knocked off the yesterday's range. Okay, that's great because they swept the low. Okay, so that one was gone, right? But here was the other one, right? We had a long to 68.72. They had an 82% chance of that happening. So that immediately made me sit on my hands and think, or 72, excuse me, made me think, how far can they come up? Right? So if they're going to make it to 72, there's an 82% chance that they're going to make it to 72. Where can they come to? Well, let's go ahead and see what they did. I mean, just absolutely amazing. And this was, once again, our 68.80 level, our 68.80, 68.86. It is really the 68.83 weekly. We had a call wall at 84, the weekly at 83, the daily at 80. I want to see this area play and immediately get back below the overnight high and 68.74. Well, look at this. This thing played phenomenal. You can see it came right up. It tested our call wall at 84 to the perfect tick and pulled back another 30 points for an absolute banger. So let's count them off. We had the 30-point short pre-market. We had the 30-point long, which actually ended up being 50 or 60 points. Actually, if let's see, what is this, 35 to 80? It's 50 points, right? If you held the whole thing, which I didn't, but hey, some guys held longer. Zug made a freaking 1,000 points today in NQ in the first 15 minutes because he held, right? He's a holder. That's what he does. But regardless, and then we had the short off of 68.83, which paid 30 points, 30, 50, and 30. We're talking about 110 points in the first hour by the trade plans to the tick. I mean, this shit doesn't get any better than this. Like, seriously. And here's the crazy part. Actually, I'll show you. Actually, we got another one. There's another crazy part. I got so much content. It's absolutely unbelievable. This was a crazy day. I know I know Bryce was in the room. He was laughing. He's like, these levels are crazy. And so here's the deal. So I know that I came into the morning with the downside lean, but we have our significant pivots that I laid out to you guys, which was 57, 83, and 03, right? So above 53, we expected a momentum shift, and we got it. But below 83, I'm bearish, right? So that all that means is that we can push up higher into our higher levels above 57, and we hit 83, and we got it, smacked hard as hell. It's awesome smack, right? But the fact that they couldn't get back below the 51 or the open told us that if they move back above 57, they will more than likely continue to move higher, which is exactly what happened, right? So we're playing our pivots. So we're no longer under 57. We hit 80, we hit 83, we come back down, we hold 57. What's going to happen? Well, we know we're super bearish under 57. We know momentum's down under 80, but if they tested 83 and they go back up, well, chances are they're going to continue to push higher. Well, where is the next level? So let's get right into it, right? So here's the other thing that I wanted to show everybody. So this picture right here is on this side is the TPO picture that I put out pre-market, right? This is during the market, and this is in the morning. And I tell everybody where the lines are. Do you see where this is at? 68.70. Okay, what was there, right? That was our big level. There's like the 83 level, and actually let's see, we had a daily there as well. But this is where I'm thinking that we would basically get momentum above. It was the previous day's value area high, and also the overnight value area high. Okay, and then below we move down, which is what? The 56, or also the monthly at 57. So what do? I basically tell people, if we can push above here, these are your potential TPO targets, which is the singles. Well, as we pushed above, look what we came to get, right? So these things are magnets. I've told you guys multiple times that the reason that I incorporate market profile is because not only does it take our day and put it in a nice little package and give us a lot of good information, but it's also a fantastic way to pinpoint market inefficiencies. And a single print like this is a huge market inefficiency. And don't get me twisted, we got more up higher. So this is a huge selling tail that will need to get cleaned up at some point. And that's why I had this highlighted over here. But this was our very first target, and this was a good spot if we were once to push above essentially our 68.80 and ultimately our 68.57 area. And that's what they did. They came and got it. So interestingly enough, check this out. So just to show you, where do those singles come to? You can see they came to 68.92, right? Okay, beautiful. So what's the next area? What is the next area for resistance? The untested daily at 68.93.25. This is not my favorite. I let you guys know it right off the top. I didn't short this level. I did not, okay? But I have to tell you guys where this is at because some of you guys might want to short it. It paid 13 points. Not only that, but if you're long and you're looking for targets, these are areas that you have to look at, right? So I'd say right here, this is not my favorite, but I want to see it play and immediately get back below 86, 4 hour, and ultimately the 80 daily for continuation lower. Well, let me show you what happened. Look what it played. 93. Where did it get to? 68.80. It never got below that again. Never, not once. Here's the active chart right here. We played this, came down, held 80, popped back above, came right back down, held 80. We never lost 80. The trade plan told you this is not a great trade unless we can get back below 80, right? So if you were short this and you couldn't get back below 80, get the fuck out, right? Get out. And if we were to break 80, 83 area, 80, 83 area, and you want to get short, now you know that level is going to play pretty good. I mean, I lay this out for you perfectly. I mean, I don't think there's anything else I can do here but hit the button for you guys. So this is excellent information. I hope you're using this to your advantage. Just absolutely incredible stuff. You know, what's funny, Bryce, is I actually go back over the trade plans when I make this content for the stream, and it makes me laugh because I'm like, damn, this shit's good as hell, right? Not to toot my own horn or anything, but for real, like even I get impressed. And I was telling Sko today, you know, I make these trade plans. Originally, I started doing them for me. Now I do them for us. But I keep them open. I literally have my trade plan to look, and I check them off as we go. Boom, where's the next one? Boom, boom. And I trade the plan. That is what I literally trade this plan. If it's not in the plan, I generally don't take it unless it forms intraday, which obviously that's a different situation. But for the most part, I'm a trade plan trader. This is what's up, right? So in combination with this, let me show you this too. This went into combination with the short at 93. Do you guys, oh, I forgot this. Okay, hang on. Whoop, let me back up. Let me just back up. I got to do this too because I forgot. This is where this comes into play. So check this out. So as you know, again, I was a little bearish coming into the morning, waiting for the sweep play, and rightfully so because we dumped 30 points and swept the overnight low before we even got a rally this morning. So the VIX analysis this morning was very clear, right? So we're holding this. We were able to hold above the significant daily at 1962, right? And then we are put squarely at the $20 handle once again. We've talked about how this is such a big deal, right? So the breakout danger was to push above 2174, and if they push below 2078, they get a pretty serious look, if VIX does indeed push below the 2078 weekly, we would see minor relief in the indices as it pushed lower into our untested 4-hour at 1965. Okay, so that is VIX pre. Now, if you were keeping an eye on VIX during the morning, look at this. We couldn't break out above the 2174, which again, right here, look, this is the untested resistance. A breakout at 2174 would easily push us into 2343. But if you break below 2078, where are we coming? We're coming to 1965. So what did they do? They bumped their head multiple times on 2174, and they broke 2078, and they came right down to 1965. You're welcome. It's like magic. This is what I do, okay? It's almost like I do this for a living. Holy cow. And so check this out. Here's the 1965. Look at that little tap. So this is where the next slide comes in. I got them ahead of myself. So the 23 short, right? This was the 1965. If you were looking to short 23 and you're using VIX as your confluence, you know right here, you got an untested 4-hour at 1965, right? Not only that, right? But you also had this. Look at SPX. This is right from the plan. I gave you guys this level way ahead of time. It was circled with an above below right here at 68.81. This lined up with the 93, and it lined up with the VIX at the 65. You had three things lining up perfectly to give you confluence. So you didn't just have to trust the ES level. You were able to lean on VIX for opposite confluence and lean on SPX for the additional confluence as well. And this was the exact same structural level that 23 was on the ES. That is three things to give you confidence. Now, I still didn't take the short, and I'm not upset about it. It paid 13 points. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, you should have took it, right? But at the end of the day, it never got below my 80, which was the exact spot that I wanted to see it get back under for continuation. Otherwise, I wasn't super excited about it. And so, did I mess up? I don't think so. And, I know some guys in the room took it. They made 13 points. It's good money, right? $650 per contract. And again, all this stuff is done with 5-point stops. 5-point stops, guys. That's it. 5-point stops. As you could see, this only took about, a 1.5 for the heat for this long. And we were flying up there, right? I mean, we played 80. 80 hit perfectly on that massive momentum push up. They came down. They look at these 2-minute candles, just boom, 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 boom. Look at all those buyers right there. They were coming. Again, 23 stopped it in its tracks. We have what? We have the juice. What's Michael got? Love that you're honest. Oh, dude, there's nothing to hide here, Michael. I mean, listen, bro. It's in the plan. I try to take it. But, I made $950 in 15 minutes. I was like, I was ready to check out, bro. I mean, I could have made a lot more money. I could have shorted 80. I didn't, right? I could have shorted 93. I didn't. They still paid. I know guys in the room took them, and that's all I care about. I made my money. I don't give a shit. So as long as you guys make money, that's what matters. I'm going to get mine regardless. So here's the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So check this out. So, I tell you guys this all the time, right? And I gave you the three big pivots, 57, 83, and 03, right? And I said, watch VIX. It's going to be huge for us today, right? And it was. It broke the 2078 weekly, immediately shifting momentum in the favor of the bulls, right? And we continued to push lower, okay? Perfect. So we know now that we are above our most significant pivots. We got VIX in the favor of the bulls, and we are now above 57 and 80, right? So what is once resistance, say it for me, Bryce, I know you know it, becomes support. So here you go. The 68.83 is going to be our barometer for the middle, right here, boom. So I had to post this on Twitter. I had to because it's so important. Look at this. 68.83, massive call wall at 84, and the 68.80 daily, right? Two big arrows, right? This was defined way ahead of time as our significant above-below barometer for the day. Way ahead of time, guys. And look how many times we held it and played it. And again, it was the short from 93. And you would have thought if that daily was going to smack, we should have broke that. And the fact that they couldn't gave us the green light for more upside. So that's what's up. I want to show you guys how to use this. I don't always get the direction right for the entire day. I'm not a genius, right? Like I am a genius, but I'm not a fortune teller, right? So you just got to play, especially when you're in these massive balances like this. There's no telling what they're going to do because listen, you guys may not realize this or not. We swept the low today. We didn't even close higher than yesterday's close, even after this massive rally. We never swept yesterday's high. I'm going to show you the daily time frame when we're done. We are still right in the middle of the bullshit. Like we didn't accomplish anything today. Nothing, right? Yeah, we rallied. Okay, cool. Like, but they didn't really accomplish anything. And in fact, we're still below 69.03. So again, we'll have to figure out what we're going to do tomorrow because we're still in this bullshit. But I'm just letting you know, like, this is how we use the levels to our advantage. These massive pivots, when I tell you they're massive pivots, you use VIX to help you understand if you're bearish or bullish, if you're underneath these levels, and what was once resistance now becomes support. It's that simple. It really is. Like, this is not hard. What's hard is controlling yourself and controlling your emotions. So here you go. So this is where the Discord room paid up today. As you guys know, I always call trades out live in the room. The other stuff was in the trade plan, so I didn't need to really take pictures of this. But again, so here we go. So we had the 68.97.50 4-hour. I said, if you like buying the highs, 97.50 might play for the long. And of course, it did. It front ran it by 4 ticks, which, as Bryce knows, is perfect for me because I do a 5-tick front run on every single level. And that's going to be important for you, Michael, as well. Every single level that I have here, I front run by 5 ticks with resting orders with 5-point stops. And I also front run my targets by 5 ticks, something to keep in mind, okay? Because I have found in ES that is the perfect combination. That is how I do it, right? So this played 10 points off of that. Perfect. Good stuff. Now, here was the next one. And it's crazy because we saw the daily play right here at 68.93 from the bottom up. We just talked about it about 50 times, right? Beautiful top-down touch on the 4-hour. They barely just missed it. It would have actually got filled on a front run as well of 5 ticks. It was the initial balance high and the daily at 93. They actually popped this up super high. And it was the same level, the 68.81, that was your confluence for the short on SPX. Say it with me again. What is once resistance now becomes support. That's right. You can do it. I heard you from way over here. It's really that simple, guys. And this is how it works. So I give you guys the levels. All you got to do is hit the button, right? And so this, look, I even said it right here. That's hilarious. That is so funny. Was once resistance now becomes support. What a pop, right? So you can see we played this perfectly. We came up, we took it daily to daily, 93 to 12. What is that? It's 20 points or 19, something like that. Pretty fucking awesome, right? So at this point in time, I've probably called out about 130 to 150 points. I stopped counting at 110. So I don't know. These trade plans have played almost to the tick. If you didn't get the first trade, it's fine. You can get the second or the third one. They're all going to pay, right? So here's the thing. We don't have a 100% win rate, right? But I can assure you, I've back tested my strategy 100 times over. This thing is 70% win rate month over month. That means you can pretty much lean on these levels and know that 7 out of 10 times you're going to win. What you really need to control is yourself. I can't adjust. I can't control the way you move your stops or place your orders or when you get in, if you get in late, all this shit. But what I can tell you is these levels will win 7 out of 10 times. And so it's up to you how you actually execute. And as you can see, these things are money. And once again, this is the big kicker right here. What was once support becomes, or was once resistance becomes support, and vice versa. So that is a biggie, guys. I just wanted to throw that out there. That is pretty much the day for the trade plan. I mean, I told you I had a lot of content. That was a lot of slides. That was like 15 or 16 slides because it really was that good today. It was super efficient today. Now, our 30 minutes is up, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull down the daily chart because why not, right? Like, let's just go ahead and take a look at it. Just because I want you guys to see what I'm talking about, all right? So for those of you guys in the trade plans, this is going to help you out a lot that you get the trade plan tomorrow because here's the weekly. Right? Forget about all the lines. Let me just hide them. So we've got 1, 2, 3 weeklies we're still dead ass in the middle of. Technically, where we closed, here's another 4th weekly and a 5th weekly. Okay? This is 5-week range that we're just sitting in right now. You know how hard it is for me to be accurate on which direction we're going to head? This is not trending, right? This is not trending at all. That's why, and as we continue to balance in these big areas, we don't have any edge in the middle. Right. So it's basically like the fuck zone. Look, I'm going to show you. Look at this. And I call it the fuck zone, as everybody in the room knows. This is last week's weekly. Well, here, look at this. This is a massive weekly. We sat inside of it. Then this week, which was last week, we sat inside of these two. And here we are this week. We're still inside the previous week. Not only are we inside the previous week, we're still inside the previous week's value. Like, we haven't moved anywhere. We're literally just going back and forth sideways. This is extremely difficult trading. So if you aren't performing well, don't blame yourself. This is hard trading. That's why I took my 1 or 2 shots today. I got up out of it. I took my 1 shot. Actually, I should have taken 80 short, 83, but I didn't. But we're not going to talk about that. But this is hard trading. Like, I'm the first to admit, I've been doing this. I've been trading ES for 10 years straight. This is hard. Okay. So, pick your shots, make your shots count, and get out of the way. So this is right here. I wanted to show you the weekly time frame. Okay, now I'm going to pull over the daily time frames as well, just to show you, because this shit's crazy, right? And just to show you, this is hard. I mean, it's hard shit, you guys. So again, like, I want to show you this. Look at this. We closed here, double O's, right? So we're still under O3, right? We have 1, 2, basically 3 days here that we're, well, it's actually, if I pull down the ETH chart, you can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4 days. We're still inside this on the ETH chart. The cash session looks a little different because, obviously there's Globex action or whatever, but it's, regardless, you get the idea. 1, 2, 3, 4 days here. And then, if you skip a day, you're coming over here, if we move lower, then you're in like 6 days worth of balance, 7 days worth of balance. It's just crazy. So this is really, really difficult. As you can see, even though we had this massive rally, we swept the lows, we came up, we still didn't close higher than the previous day. And this is why I want you guys to understand something else. It's very important. And I hope everybody watching this hears this. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. I trade the higher time frame. I look at the weekly and the daily, and I execute 4-hour levels. That means I am looking at very high time frames, okay? Yes, I trade intraday. Yes, I take 10, 20, 30 points. No, I'm not trading, holding trades for a week. But when I make my analysis and I give you guys calls and I say, hey, listen, I'm bearish, right? That doesn't mean we can't squeeze and rotate, but my long-term view is still down, and it still is. I mean, I haven't changed the way I look at this. I don't give a shit that we were up 50, 60 points today. I don't care. The same thing happened Friday. They squeezed everybody on the Trump tariffs. I know on the weekend review, I sounded super bullish. And after I got done, I was like, oh, well, hopefully they understand that these levels, like I had the arrows. If we go up here, we're going to keep going up. If we don't, it doesn't. And on Sunday, we opened up, we fell 45 points, and it voided everything. All the bullish structure bullshit, it was gone as soon as we moved underneath the context. So I want you guys to understand, I am still not bullish. I don't give a fuck. Like, for me, we can come all the way up here at 68, 65 until I actually start, like, I think this area up here smacks. I do. I think we get smoked up here at 68, 65, and I think we can come up there. So am I still going to be bearish when we're at 68, 50? Yeah. Okay. But that doesn't mean that, the momentum is to the downside until we get above our significant pivots. Okay. And you guys just trust me when I put them in the trade plan, put them on your chart, monitor them. If we're above or below them, it's very important. Okay. Because momentum shifts. Trend right now is technically up, because we've been up since last April, but we are shifting momentum to the downside. And there is a strong possibility that we have a pullback coming. That doesn't mean they can't squeeze everybody's ass first before they do it. So again, I'm not saying we're not going to make new all-time highs. I don't know. Right now, it doesn't look like it to me. But, again, I come into this, and just let you guys know what my long-term view is. And when I do analysis, it's based off of weekly, daily, and really the 4-hour is my small time frame. I know that sounds crazy, but for my analysis, that's what it is. So I will stop there. Otherwise, I can continue to rant for a long time. And the trade plans will be out 8:30 in the morning. As usual, I will be here, same time, same channel tomorrow. You guys, Edgeful, I'm going to throw this out there. Edgeful is great. These guys in the room know it. Bryce knows it. It's the best $50 you ever spent. It literally had me hold my trade for an extra 10 points a day. I was already going to be long, but it had me hold my trade for an extra 10 points a day, which is $500 per car, which I only had one car out because I had two on. But the real thing is I was going to short the 76 level or something like that. And I can show you the fill. Actually, I got a picture of it. I got out of my short for 1 point profit because they had like an 80% that it was going to go to 70. I don't know. It was going to go higher. Anyways, or maybe I was going to short 57. That's what I was going to do. I was going to short 57, and I decided not to stay in the short. I took a 1 point profit, and then it rallied to 70. And I would have never done that had I not had the data that said there was an 80% chance it was going to go to 72. So I would have given back like at least 5 points, probably 10. Because I was really leaning to the downside. And I just wanted to just explain how useful this data is. It's $50. Whether you can afford it or not, it's up to you guys, but it's certainly worth it to me. So anyways, they're my people. Their links in the bio, or the links in the bottom of this post. Enjoy it. It's good stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel. Be good. Holler. Take care.